If you're collecting Social Security or planning to soon, there's something happening right now that could quietly change how much money lands in your bank account, and most people won't even know it happened until they see it on their statement. Social Security doesn't send out a big announcement, no red flashing warning, no phone call. It just happens. And by the time you notice, it's already too late to plan around it. I've talked to so many seniors who found out the hard way after the fact and were left scrambling to figure out what to do next. That's not going to be you, not today. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly what's changing, who it affects, and most importantly, what you can do right now to protect your benefits before it catches you off guard. Whether you're already receiving checks or you're still a few years out, this affects you. So grab a coffee, stay with me, and let's break this down together, step by step, in plain English. No confusing government jargon. And hey, if you find videos like this helpful, do me a quick favor, hit that like button right now before we get started. It genuinely helps this information reach more seniors who need to see it. Let's get into it. So let's talk about what's actually going on, because I don't want you hearing this secondhand from a neighbor or a Facebook post with half the story. Here's the truth. Every January, Social Security adjusts your check based on something called the Cost of Living Adjustment, or COLA for short. For 2026, that adjustment came in at 2.8%, which sounds like good news, and on paper it is. The Social Security Administration estimates the average retirement benefit rose by about $56 a month, going from $2,015 to $2,071, starting with the payments that went out in January. Now, I want you to sit with that number for a second because $56 sounds like something worth celebrating, but here's the part almost nobody explains clearly, and it's the reason I wanted to make this video in the first place. At the very same time your COLA increase landed, something else was happening quietly in the background. Medicare Part B premiums, which cover your doctor visits and outpatient care, went up too. And here's the kicker. That premium is automatically deducted straight out of your Social Security check before it ever reaches your bank account. You don't get a separate bill you can choose to ignore or negotiate. It just comes out. In 2026, the Part B premium climbed to just over $200 a month, up from $185 the year before. That's roughly an $18 jump. And when you subtract it from that $56 COLA bump, your actual net increase drops down to somewhere around $38 a month. Almost a third of your raise gone before you even see it. Nobody sends you a letter that says, hey, by the way, we're taking back a chunk of what we just gave you. It just shows up that way on your statement, and if you're not paying close attention, you might not even notice why your check looks smaller than you expected. Now that's just one piece of this. Let me walk you through a few more. Because if you're still working part-time while collecting benefits, or if you're getting close to retirement age, there's more you need to know. If you haven't reached what's called your full retirement age, and you're still earning income from a job, Social Security applies something called the earnings test. In simple terms, if you earn more than a certain amount in a year, they temporarily withhold part of your benefit. For 2026, that threshold moved up to about $24,480 a year, and for every $2 you earn above that limit, they take back $1 of your benefit. Here's an example that really puts it in perspective. Let's say you're still working and you bring in $40,000 this year from a job. That puts you around $15,500 over the limit. Divide that in half, and you're looking at roughly $7,700 withheld from your Social Security benefits over the course of the year. That's real money. And if you didn't know that rule existed, it can feel like a gut punch when you see it happen. Now, I do want to give you some good news here too, because this video isn't about scaring you, it's about making sure you're not blindsided. Once you actually reach your full retirement age, that earnings test disappears completely. You can earn as much as you want from work, and it will not touch your Social Security check at all. So if you're getting close to that milestone and you're worried about working a little extra to make ends meet, know that the finish line is coming, and once you cross it, this particular rule no longer applies to you. When speaking of full retirement age, here's another shift worth knowing about. By late 2026, full retirement age officially reaches 67 for anyone born in 1960 or later. This has actually been coming for a long time. It's the final step in a gradual schedule that started all the way back in 1983, when lawmakers decided to slowly raise the retirement age from 65 up to 67, largely because people are living longer and the program needed to adjust to that reality. If you were born in 1960 or after, this means you'll need to wait a little longer to collect your full, unreduced benefit. You can still choose to claim early at 62 if you need to, but doing so locks in a permanently reduced monthly check for the rest of your life. And that reduction doesn't go away once you hit your original full retirement age. It stays with you. Now, here's something a lot of people genuinely don't know about, and if this applies to you, it could be worth real, meaningful money. Not long ago, a piece of legislation was signed into law that eliminated two rules that had been quietly shrinking benefits for millions of people for decades. Those rules affected anyone who spent part of their career working a job that didn't pay into Social Security, things like certain state government positions, teaching jobs, or police and fire departments in some states, and who also had a pension from that work. Those old rules could slash your Social Security benefit, sometimes by hundreds of dollars every single month, or in some cases, wipe it out completely if you were collecting a spousal or survivor benefit. That's gone now. If this describes you or your spouse, I want you to do something as soon as this video ends. Log into your My Social Security account online and compare what you're receiving now to what you were getting before this change took effect. If that number hasn't moved and you believe it should have, reach out to Social Security directly, because retroactive payments haven't reached everyone who qualifies yet, especially people who never even filed for spousal or survivor benefits, because they assumed those old rules would reduce their payment to nothing anyway. There's one more piece I want to make sure you walk away knowing about, and it has to do with your taxes. There's a new additional deduction of $6,000 available for anyone 65 and older, running through the next few tax years. This is on top of the extra standard deduction that's already existed for seniors, and it can help lower how much of your Social Security income actually gets taxed at the federal level. It's not going to change what shows up in your monthly check, but it absolutely can change what you owe when tax season rolls around. So it's worth mentioning to whoever helps you file your taxes this year, or looking into yourself if you file on your own. Now, why does all of this matter enough for me to spend the last few minutes walking you through it? Because Social Security doesn't operate like a company that sends you a friendly heads-up email before something shifts. These changes happen through formulas, cost of living calculations, legislation passed in Washington, and automatic adjustments that kick in on a schedule. Nobody personally calls you up and explains how it affects your specific situation. It just happens, and then it's up to you to notice the difference and figure out why. And look, I get it. The system feels complicated on purpose, or at least it feels that way sometimes. There are earnings limits, retirement age charts, cost of living formulas, Medicare premium deductions, tax deductions, and legislative changes still working their way through the system. It's a lot to keep track of, and honestly, most people simply don't have the time to sit down and read through government fact sheets every single year. That's exactly why I make these videos. Not to scare you, not to sell you anything, but to sit down with you, break it all apart in plain English, and make sure you walk away knowing exactly where you stand. Because the people who get caught off guard aren't the ones who don't care about their finances, they're the ones who simply never had someone explain it to them clearly, and you deserve better than that. So here's what I want you to do before you go anywhere else today. First, log into your My Social Security account if you haven't already, and actually look at your latest benefit statement line by line. Don't just glance at the total. Look at what's being deducted and why. Second, if you're still working and collecting benefits before your full retirement age, do the math on your expected earnings for the year so there are no surprises come tax time or benefit adjustment time. Third, if you or your spouse ever worked a public pension job, go check whether that old benefit reduction has actually been reversed on your account. And finally, keep this channel close, because I go through updates like this all the time in plain language, without the confusing jargon that makes half of these government announcements feel like they were written in a different language. If this video helped clear things up for you even a little bit, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this information reach more seniors who need to see it just as much as you did. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications, because I'm going to keep breaking down exactly what's changing with your benefits, your Medicare, and your retirement before it catches you off guard. Thank you for spending this time with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.